Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, Daryl. How are you going over there in your lockdown bubble?
I've got a great lockdown bubble and I'm very relaxed in it. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, we're doing really good too. Thank you.
Cool. So today we're here to help you guys with anxiety, especially if it's something, in these kind of weird times, we're worrying about lots of different things. People are worrying about, are you going to have a job? Are you going to have any money? Are you going to pay rent? And we don't need to let that anxiety affect our body as much as it can do. We want to help you be as relaxed as you can, no matter what happens. We want to help you sleep well and be healthy and feel good. So we've got heaps and heaps to talk about today. Cheryl, what are your thoughts on anxiety at the moment?
Yeah, I think what's really important to remember is that, I mean, with a lot of my clients, certainly when it comes to sort of eating challenges and related to a lot of life challenges, is that even normal life, we're sort of used to anxiety, and let's face it, we get it, it comes and goes. That is a normal part of life, and we are used to handling stress. We're meant to be able to handle stress, but of course it ebbs and flows, and that's totally normal. What I think it's really good to think about right now is that actually what we're going through in this exact moment in time is something that we've never really experienced before. And as such, we don't have a framework of reference within our own mind or our own histories to sort of know, oh, well, this has happened before and this is what I did. And I think that's bringing just a kind of an exceptional set of probably emotions maybe to the surface that even those of us who have never really had anxiety or depression or had challenges before, we may be feeling some new feelings that we don't like and that are new to us. And I think the real message that I would love to share today is that, that's to be expected. It's quite normal. So don't feel like it's wrong. This is just part of the process. And you know what? We can work through it. And the tips that Daryl and I are going to give today will hopefully help you with that. And just know that it's perfectly normal to be feeling this way. And hopefully it won't last too long. This is a journey and there's going to be a lot of different emotions along the way.
Awesome. Thanks, Cheryl. And one of the things that I think of when I think of anxiety and trauma, like, because these are traumatic times for a lot of people, is the old expression, pull yourself together, hold yourself together. That's basically locking anxiety and emotion inside your body. And the tips and tricks that we're going to use today, I'm going to help you with, are going to help you get the anxiety out of the body, the emotion out of it, so that you're left feeling peaceful. Now, Cheryl, you've got a really cool list of things you can do called your control list. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, definitely. So I think everything that I thought of about talking about today, it actually all comes under this big umbrella of a key strategy and a key little tool that I get my clients to do when they are really in a place of anxiety and uncertainty. So this is so simple, and I've had a couple of people already text me in the last week to say that they've finally gotten this list out and they've done it, and just how helpful it's been just to help them realign at the moment with how they're feeling. So all you need is a piece of paper and a pencil. So simple. And I want you to draw a line down the middle of the page. Now, on one side, I want you to write, these are the things that I cannot control. And on the other side, you write, these are the things I can control. Okay, so at the moment, there's quite a few big ones on the I can't control list, okay? And you all know what they are. We've obviously got the virus. We've got how other people are reacting. We've got, the government's decisions. There's a heck of a lot on that list that you and I have absolutely no control over. So what I want you to do is list everything that's on your mind, everything that's worrying you, that you might be thinking about, but actually when you step back and think about it, you can't really control that. Right? Put it on that side. Now I want you to go to the other side and make a really long list of all the things that actually right now you do have control over. And there's a lot of things we're going to talk about today. Some examples are things like when I eat, what I look at, on TV, the media, the social media that I'm looking at. how often I exercise, what time I'm going to bed. You know, there's so many things that possibly we have even more control over now than we did previously. So I want you to make those 2 lists. And then what you do is you just look at that page, you look at all the things that are on the I can't control list and just let it go. Stop yourself thinking about that, because actually you can't control it. You can't change it. And I want you to put all of your effort into the list that you can control. And look at that list daily. Have that in front of you, because it's going to change. You might be able to add things, take things off. But I think that particular one piece of paper is a brilliant framework just to get you through the next few weeks, months, whatever it takes.
Awesome, Cheryl. Thank you. It's a great technique, and I've used something very similar with my clients, and they always love it. It's a little bit of CBT. It gets people aware of where their anxiety is, and you know, to combat anxiety, the number one thing is to take action, to do something. Anxiety is worrying but not doing. So making that list and then starting to work on it, that's action, and that just starting that is going to help get rid of anxiety. Now, food, that's one of the number one things that you mentioned that you've got control over. How do you take control of food, or how do you recommend people do that?
Yeah, well, I think, and we've talked about some of the tips in our other videos, but I think the real key when it comes to, this inaction anxiety is that, you know, food is one really important thing that you do have complete control over. Okay, we might not be able to get exactly the ingredients that we want, and we might not be able to go to the supermarket as often, but actually, right now, you can create a very simple structure with your food. Okay, this is going to be a part of my day. I'm going to eat at these times. I'm going to have these meals. If you're feeling anxious and uptight, I highly recommend just have small meals, but don't skip meals, because you don't want your blood sugars to get too unbalanced. So make food a really strategic and structured part of your day. Eat something small if you're feeling a bit churned up, but just eat something, and make sure you've got that nice protein with each meal, protein and healthy fats to keep your blood sugar levels balanced. The other major tip I would say about food, and I've said it before, is just try not to eat too much high sugar, high carby options, because it's just so unsettling to your blood sugar levels. And right now you want to create some nice balance and harmony in every way possible. But I think the key thing with food right now is the structure that it will give to your day. And yeah,
Great. Thanks. Because of course, having that structure, it's actually going to help you sleep as well. It's going to help you stay sane. Adding on to it, and I want to come back to kind of food as medicine again, and add in a bit of herbs information there. Hot milk. There's a reason we give it to babies before they go to bed, because it helps them sleep. And as an adult, it has that same effect. It's really going to soothe you and help you get to sleep, or help wind you down. If you're lactose intolerant or you don't drink milk, then soy, oat milk, whatever kind of milk you want. Nut milks are good, especially if you make them yourself at home. And what I like to do is to put some lavender into that milk while it's heating. So just get a sprig of lavender, the whole thing, and just chuck it in the pan, heat up the milk, and then drink it. And those lovely lavender oils will come out into the milk. And lavender is such a relaxing herb, and it tastes beautiful. A little bit of honey if you do want to add sweetness to it, or your favorite natural sweetener. But otherwise, just hot milk, lavender is a great way to reduce anxiety. Obviously, chamomile tea. And what I'm going to tell you is most people are drinking chamomile tea wrong, and that's why it doesn't work. So the part of chamomile tea that actually is relaxing is the oils. And as soon as you pour boiling water into the tea on top of the tea bag, those oils disappear and you don't get them. So when you make chamomile tea, make it in a pot, and don't boil the kettle all the way. Stop it early, or leave it for 5 minutes before you pour it. And if you don't have a teapot or you don't want to use one, just stick a coaster or a plate on top of the mug to keep all the oils in. Plus, use 2 or 3 bags. Make it nice and strong. It should have a lovely bitter taste, the chamomile tea. Make it nice and strong, and you're going to feel it a lot more than just 1 bag. Passion flower is another one. You'll find sleepy teas and passion flower in the supermarket. In New Zealand, if you're here, one of my favorite herbs is kawakawa. And actually, I've got one here I can show you. I just took a cutting yesterday, and I've got this one. It's a little heart-shaped leaf. So it's related to kava, but it's much more gentle. It just soothes the gut and really, really relaxes, and it tastes delicious as a tea. So make sure you've got the right plant, whether you need to speak to somebody to find that out. But if you can get kawa kawa, or you know what it is, about 5 leaves cut up in some tea, in some hot water, beautiful to relax you. Another herb that is really relaxing is manuka. So we know manuka honey for its antibacterial properties, but actually the tree itself is a sedative. So it's bitter and it's astringent. So you might want to mix it with something like some lemon juice to make it taste good. But for a nice relaxing drink, you can boil that up in a pan for 10 minutes with a lid, strain it off and drink it. Remember, if you're pregnant, if you're on medication, if you're in ill health, you really need to speak to a herbalist before you do any of these things. But for the average person, it's going to be fine. If you're on the pill, some of these herbs can interact and you could be part of the isolation baby boom.
Yeah.
So double check. Another favorite herb of mine is ashwagandha or withania. You'll find it in the pharmacy still, because the health shops are closed in New Zealand, but you'll also find it in health stores if you're in the UK or wherever you are in the world. It's very popular. It has an instant effect when you take it, but also as you take it over time, it has a cumulative effect as well. So it's a great herb to take. A supplement I like is L-theanine. It's an extract from tea, and it's the part of tea that makes you feel good and relaxed, gives you focused relaxation. It's a supplement you can take and it doesn't interact with any medication. So it's really, really safe to take theanine, and it's not going to make you drowsy. Then on top of that, we could move into kind of vitamins and minerals. My favorite mineral for relaxation is magnesium. Every time we move a muscle, we need magnesium. In New Zealand, the soil is very low in it. And if you drink or smoke or have coffee or exercise regularly, it's likely you might not be getting enough magnesium in your diet. So for me, I recommend magnesium bisglycinate or a chelated magnesium. My favorite in Australasia is Ethical Nutrients Mega Magnesium. If you can get that, it comes with zinc in it. But otherwise, just whatever magnesium you can find is gonna be better than none. If you're really stressed a lot, then magnesium is key. As well as that, B vitamins. Get a B complex, nice and strong. It's gonna make your pee yellow, don't worry about that. But those B vitamins are really, really helpful. Food-wise, I love savory yeast and brewer's yeast, and I blend it with a bit of soy sauce, a bit of olive oil, and a tiny bit of lemon juice, and I make my own homemade Marmite. And I know that a spoon of that is going to give me all the B vitamins I need every day. So I'll come back to you for a second, Cheryl, with any other vitamins or supplements that you would recommend for people who are anxious or really stressed.
Yeah, I think the big one that I use in my clinic is magnesium, in the same way for you. That really is so key. And I'm actually, one thing I was thinking when you were talking, especially about availability, I'm a Metagenics practitioner. I guess I'm hoping some of you may know Metagenics. It's a very, very good natural-based range of supplements. See, they have brilliant magnesiums with all different, for different needs. Like they have one for pain, and they have a brilliant one called Calm X, which is a magnesium powder specifically designed for stress. So that product is really, really good. And Metagenics are still shipping. So look, if anybody, you know, you can't buy these in the shop, but if anybody would like to get in touch with me, my contact details obviously here on my page, I could help with that. So that is another option if you would really like to get some type of supplements over this
Excellent.
period.
That's really good to know, Cheryl. And for you guys out there, so that you know, the form of magnesium I mentioned is the exact same in Cheryl supplements. So that's where you can get it if you get stuck. So yeah, get in touch with Cheryl, and she can make sure that it's safe for you too. Also, as well as supplements, we want to talk about what we might want to replace in our diet. So we've talked about alcohol in previous ones, and we'll reiterate that's something that you might want to cut down or replace. One of the things is GABA. GABA is this neurotransmitter that makes you feel relaxed. And when we drink, we get this lovely relaxing feeling of, I'm chilled now. The problem is that your body gets used to that and you have like a withdrawal from the GABA when you're not drinking. And it can increase your anxiety. Having a drink of alcohol at night usually means more anxiety the next day. So guess what? Hey, next night, oh, I need that glass of wine again. If you are worried about being an alcoholic, get professional help before you cut down. The joys of working from home means we get all the background sounds of the doggies and and the children and such like. So yeah, get professional help before you stop. Get help from your GP. But if you're just drinking a glass or two a night or a little bit more than you want to, then you usually it's going to be safe to stop that, and that's going to improve anxiety levels over time. As well as alcohol, nicotine, stimulant, it's going to increase that cortisol, the stress hormones, the adrenaline, clog your body up. If you can get rid of that, great. Then another one for anxiety, which people don't want to hear, but we're going to tell you, is the caffeine. It has a really big effect on anxiety levels by that cortisol and adrenaline production and hyping you up. So look, try reducing it. Play with having half the amount of caffeine. Mix half decaf and decaf coffee together. And sorry, half decaf and decaf. Caffeinated and half decaf. See if that makes a difference. And just monitor your own anxiety levels. You might like to replace it while you're really stressed with something like a cacao and maca drink. So maca is this beautiful herb. You can get it in health stores or in the supermarket, and it gives you energy. And then your cacao powder is going to have iron and magnesium, and it's got just a tiniest bit of caffeine to give you a little bit of energy, and it tastes delicious. So play with different drinks. Another tea that's good is licorice tea. So some women should check before drinking too much licorice tea because it can have a kind of opposite effect, but licorice tea is great for the adrenals and nourishes them and can give you a lot of energy, and it tastes sweet even though there's no sugar. So look into some ideas like that in the meantime. And if you do all that, it's going to help with the other number one thing for anxiety, and that's it's gonna help you sleep. Cheryl, do you want to talk about sleep?
Yes, definitely. And just quickly before I do talk about sleep too, just along the lines of that, remember, especially the caffeine one. I know for me, the thought of reducing caffeine would probably be enough to start causing anxiety. But remember that, these kind of suggestions, it doesn't have to be forever. It's just if you're particularly feeling anxious, caffeine, it really does. It's like throwing gasoline on a fire. So it doesn't mean you can't have coffee every day. It's just really to be aware if you're having a day when you really are feeling worked up, then that's not a good day to have that extra cup of coffee or to drink more, because it is going to really impede on your body's ability to process the stress hormones. So just remember all the things we're saying. It's not every day. It's just that have it at your disposal to be in control of when you're feeling that anxiety, coming up. But yes, sleep. Once again, going back to the thing that we have control of, my goodness, sleep should be at the top of your list, because actually it really is the most important thing for health, for your immune system, and yes, definitely in terms of balancing all of these hormones and, for your mental health. And what we can control now, I don't know about you guys, but I've found it's not so bad now, but certainly in those early days, man, I'm a good sleeper, but far out, I was waking up and just feeling that extra stress. So, what I'm being really careful about now is just being very regular with when I go to bed. And, I'm not waking up as early as I used to because there's not that same pressure, but trying to just keep my circadian rhythm in some kind of balance by keeping my bedtime as regular as possible. And yeah, I find that I tend to wake up around the same time. I mean, I can't necessarily always control the night's sleep I'm going to have, but one thing I definitely can control is when I go to bed. So that's, again, my biggest tip right now. Just, again, control what you can. And when you go to bed is probably one of the best things that you can be still in control of at the moment.
Awesome. No, I completely agree. And one other thing I'd like to add to that is you can also control when you stop using devices. And I'm sure Cheryl's nodding. Stop using devices an hour before you go to bed. Or if you can't do that, half an hour minimum, and you will have a better quality of sleep. The better your quality of sleep, the less your anxiety. We know that there is a direct correlation between the level of anxiety that you feel and the amount of sleep that you've had. And if you want to test that, you can get a diary and every day rank out of 10 how anxious you are throughout the day or when you wake up in the morning, and also record your hours slept. And I bet you that you'll see a correlation. So get lots of sleep, and that's really, really going to help. Coming on from that, we've got exercise. So exercise, what does that look like? Well, we've talked about that in other ones as well. But Cheryl, when we were talking about today, mentioned moderate exercise as often as possible. And that's going to help you reduce the adrenaline and the cortisol. Think about, you see a tiger, or you know that a tiger's stalking you, your heart races, there's all this adrenaline, you want to run or you want to fight. And that's anxiety. If you move and do moderate exercise, you're actually using up that adrenaline. I'm going to do another video with some tips and techniques to quickly use up that. But one that I'll give you really quickly is called Wiggle Move. Okay, so if you're the kind of person that's anxious, then I got this one from, what was her name? Maggie Wild. She's a hypnotherapist in Australia, and she works a lot with weight loss. And some of her clients, they're so big that they can't exercise, they can't move. She says, no, you don't need to go out for a run or even for a walk if you're not able to. What you need to do is always be moving. So when you're in the shower, you're just wiggling. You're just wiggling. Everybody can wiggle, unless you've got a bad back or something, then don't do it. And just wiggle. When you're at the kitchen cooking, you're just wiggling. When you're doing the dishes, just wiggle your bum. Just wiggle all the time. And it's kind of funny, and it's light, and it feels nice. So remember, wiggle move. If you can, walk in nature. Nature is going to improve your whole outlook on life. Laugh. We want to get you laughing. Watch comedies. Okay, I love my horror films, but balance it out with something funny. Like, watch stand-up comedians, read a funny book, watch children's cartoons, whatever makes you laugh. Get onto that, because that's going to help you. Write down a list of people in your life that make you laugh, and make contact with them and have Zoom calls with them or play games with them. Practice meditation or hypnosis daily. We've gone over and over why this is important. In a nutshell, when you're anxious, your amygdala, the part that senses fear, is bigger and it's overreactive, and it's reacting to things it doesn't need to. Meditation and hypnosis will shrink your amygdala so that you don't react with the stress response to things the way that you used to. Do it for 5 to 10 minutes a day. Don't worry if you're doing it right or not. Just do it. Practice it. We're going to do a video later that's going to teach you some techniques to make it easy for you to go into meditation or hypnosis. But I want you to start practicing. And then, along with mindset, there's one thing I always ask my clients when they're anxious. Is there something that needs to be done or needs to be said? Because we could be anxious about potentially catching a virus or about losing our job, and maybe there's nothing that we can do. But going back to Cheryl's first thing, is there something you need to do or need to say, need to tell someone, is there a task you need to complete? Because anxiety is great for keeping you primed until you finish a job, until you get something done. So it doesn't matter what techniques you use. If you know that you absolutely have to file your taxes, otherwise the IRDs come in, or you absolutely have to do your online shop or you're going to have no food, your anxiety is not going to go until you've done it. So get a to-do list and start doing the things on it. Cool. So that's all from me just now. Cheryl, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, no, I think, look, that, we've definitely, I think that the key thing from today is to work on, things that you can control, and just take action. Just take action. Do something. You can create a little list of, right, these are just 5 simple things that I can do if I start to feel myself getting worked up. And then you've got it straight there, so you can start taking action. And, if there's one thing we do have right now, it is a bit of time. So, if you're feeling it, acknowledge that it's fine to feel it. It's perfectly normal, but also realize that you're not powerless. There's heaps that you can do about it, and that will hopefully improve your day and help you the next day.
Yeah, awesome. And the next video that we put out is going to be focusing specifically on techniques to reduce stress, reduce anxiety. So watch out for that. There's going to be NLP techniques, mindfulness techniques. Just watch out for that. That's coming really, really soon. Well, Cheryl, thanks so much for all your expert advice and for coming out again with me to help all these people. It's been great chatting with you.
Awesome. Same to you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I always really enjoying putting this information out there. It's great to do it this time.
Awesome. And love to all you guys out there. Keep peaceful, keep smiling, keep laughing, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.